Hello, and welcome to the Lucid S podcast, where I explore everything because everything is connected to everything else. I don't even have to go into it. Um, I want to first start off with a murmuration. If you've never watched videos of a murmuration, I highly suggest you quickly go do that because I'm going to speak about them today. And really, I've never seen one in real life. As I was watching one the other day, a video. I thought, one day I have to get somewhere where I can see a murmuration. It'll be fabulous. Anyway, so I'm back to integrity. Haven't made it very far because it was my last podcast, and here I am about a week later, and we're still on it. And it's just even gotten more acute. Acute is the word I would use. I might put on a jacket. I'm a little bit chilly. So where to start? Okay, so all this stuff about integrity, and as I was speaking to a therapist, I went and saw a new therapist today. Was going to see if maybe the one I've been working with, it's just been there aren't problems, but it's not working. I don't know how to I don't know how to describe it any better than that. But I think it's just that thing where something in you is just like, this isn't it. It's not working. There's not like a necessarily like a thing or like that can't be worked through, but it's like it's just not working. So I went and saw a different therapist today. um fascinating what happened. um okay, so integrity, but I was going to go somewhere else before I got into that. Let's just dive in. So I go see the therapist after work. Been a very busy, kind of stressful day at work. I get there and I've never met them. So I say that. I'm just like, hey, just coming off of a very busy, stressful day. This time of year is pretty stressful. It's the busiest time of year. And then I start talking. I'm like, part of the way I work is, integrity. What I figured out, one of the things I really driven home for me today is our biggest integrity is with ourselves. When we're out of integrity with ourselves, it's not going to work. But when you're out of integrity with yourself, the lessons come hard and fast, which is a good thing. They're hard and they're fast, but it can be a little brutal and harsh like today. But then they're done. It's like, oh shit, I got it. Lesson done. You do have to have a good bit of resilience built up, meaning you have to realize when you you just have to realize it's okay. So I remember when I started many years ago, and it was like, okay, and the message was trust yourself above all others. And I thought, well, that's interesting because we need other people to, help sort of mirror and guide. And it was like, nope, my thing was trust yourself above all others. And I asked myself when I heard that, another part of me is like, okay, but what if we make a mistake? What if we're wrong? And it was like, then you'll learn. And I was like, oh yeah, duh. Now, this isn't true for everyone, but I would say it's true for most of us. I know there's a majority, I think it's a minority of people that do not know how to learn from themselves and from the lessons in their life. So I'm not talking to them. I'm talking about the rest of us who do. So I realized when I did that, I was like, okay, if I listen to this, and I trust myself above all others, I'm going to be wrong. Absolutely, I'm going to be wrong, and I will learn. I will learn from myself. I will learn from my mistakes. Okay, so it's been many years of that. So, so now, looking for a therapist as I've been going, this thing inside of me is just like, the words came to me more clearly today while I was in this therapy session than they ever have. And it would be wise for you to have assistance as you explore what's inside of you. Now, here's what's interesting. I've spent the last 3 years exploring what's inside of me due to the rape. But I thought I would be done, but I'm not. Something is like, no, you're not done. There's more inside of you that needs to be explored. Excuse me. There's more inside of you that needs to be explored. And the words I think are interesting. Previously, when I was dealing with the rape trial, it was like it had to be. I had to have help. Like there was no ifs, ands, or buts. And fortunately, I had two amazing women, two amazing therapists that helped me. They were both female. Now the words are different. It would be wise for you to have assistance. So whatever is wanting to be explored, and it doesn't feel like some big deep trauma. It feels like an exploration of like, it's big in that it's like, what is living in me? Like what does life want to pull forth out of me? It almost feels like that. Which you think, well, that's easy, just live or whatever, but it doesn't seem to be that easy, because it seems like whatever life is wanting to pull out of me, it's going to take some, like a birth. Okay, let's say I'm about to birth something and I need a doula or a midwife. I could get an obstetrician, but I didn't choose an obstetrician when I had kids. I chose a midwife because that's kind of the way I lean. So I'm more of a midwife sort of birther. So I would, so I'm being, what I'm being told feels more like a doula or a midwife. Like it would be wise to have assistance. This is not going to be an emergency. I don't need an obstetrician to like do a C-section or whatever. This is not an emergency thing that's happening, but it would be very wise for me to have assistance. So, okay, so I go, and I've kind of felt this, and I know I know what I need, which is new for me. Half the time I would show up to therapy an absolute mess and be like, help me, help me, help me. And these women were wonderful, and they did. I would just be like, look, I'm a fucking disaster. Just help me put myself together enough to go and do another day of life. So now I'm coming forth and I'm like, oh, I'm getting a clear message of what I need. Like there's more in me to explore, and I need to somehow get it out, but I need some, help doing it. And the two men that I've tried to do it with, and I'm going to throw gender out there because why not? I don't know if it has anything to do with gender, but the two men have been so bothered that I knew what to ask for. Granted, well, that's not true with the women. There were times where I was like, I need this. And they honestly, because I do remember that. I remember when I told the first one when she was going to retire, and I said, I need to start with someone new now. I need to do both of you at the same time these last 2 months because I need to have that in place. And she was like, absolutely. So there were times, and not just that, but there were times when I told the women, like, I know I need this. And you know what? They were fine. They were like, okay, if that's what you need, let's get that for you. Like, so let's do that. I'll do that for you. Whatever. The men, no. No. I'm just like, so I don't know. This could not be a gender thing. I'm going to let it be a gender thing for a minute, and I'll tell you why a little bit later. So I go into this new one, a man, probably about 30. And I sit down, I start telling him about my day, and then I say, okay, look, like, I know this about me. This is where I know where I'm at. This is what I need. So what I need from you is, this embodied presence. These are the words I keep getting. And, I need someone to help me stay embodied and present as I like sort of discover what's inside of me and, da, 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 da. And so I talk for a little bit longer, and then something inside of me just gets really, and then I sit quietly for a minute, and something inside of me is really scared and nervous and about him. And I thought, okay, this is, just say it then. Like, listen. And I just said, okay, I'm sitting here and I'm really scared and nervous that you're not. Oh, and I told him, like, please ask me questions, please interrupt me, like, help me stay embodied. And I just said, I'm really scared, I'm nervous. I feel like you're not going to do it, that you're da 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 da, that you're not going to follow through. You're not going to, and I get done, and I'm waiting for him to say, yeah, no, like, don't worry, I've got it. And he said, well, yeah, actually, I need to let you know I'm a something, something. I can't remember. He used a phrase. I don't know if it's real or if he made it up, but basically saying that when anyone tells me that I need to do something, I like automatically refuse to do it. And he's been like that. He said, I've been like that my whole life. And I'm sitting there going, oh shit. Like, I started laughing. Just like, oh, this is so cool. This is so great. I literally came in and just said, can you please do this for me? And my asking immediately denies me it because of who you are. It's just like, he's like, I just got to be honest with you. Like, he's like, basically just said, I'm not your person. He said it in maybe 3 sentences instead of the one. Yeah. Like, I'm not your person. No, I don't, that's not what I do. That's not how I work. A therapist is here to challenge you. If you already know that's what you need, I don't know. He wasn't derogatory, but he also wasn't supportive. He was basically like, I'm not your person. I got it, whatever. And I wanted to get up and I wanted to scream and run out and just say, "Oh, motherfucker, I'm out of here," and grab my bag and leave. Because at that point I was like, why the fuck am I here again? Like, why am I seeing another therapist? Like, why do I keep running into this wall? And strangely, there have been no women available. Like I'm only finding men that are, so I'm like, that's gotta be, I'm like, so whatever. So, but something in me wouldn't move. It was just like, it was like, you are not leaving. And I was like, but it's not. And it was like, no. It was like, you're gonna sit here in this discomfort. You don't get. I didn't give a fuck about the guy. I was like, I don't fucking care what he thinks. I have to sit here, and he has to sit here. He can't go anywhere. I'm paying him. He has to sit there. As long as I sit here, he has to sit here. So I just sat there in silence for a while, and then we kind of like went back and forth, and it was angsty stuff, and this and that, and that probably went on for like 15 or 20 minutes. Just I don't even know. It was like, how do you politely talk to someone that you don't want to talk to because it's. And then I finally just said, God, I just want to get up and run out of here. He's like, you're free to. You can go. And I said, no, I can't. Oh, that's it. We were talking about integrity. And I was like, no, integrity is an action. Integrity is not action. This was so important, and he got it. And I actually was very impressed. I'm like, integrity is not action, it's energy. And when your energy is integrous, when it's like aligned, it's like all aligned. And it's not like some holy fairy moment. I mean, it is not lovely. Usually when you're in integrity, and I knew in that moment that my integrity was to sit there. I could just feel it. I was like, my best alignment right now is to sit here in this shit. And I was like, it doesn't feel good at all. And I said, I'm feeling so much discomfort. I'm feeling like anxious, and I'm feeling angry. And I'm like, oh, this is what I'm feeling. And he was like, well, just leave. I said, I can't. My integrity is right here. My integrity, the best alignment of my integrity I know right now is to sit here. So I just have to sit here, and it's so uncomfortable. It doesn't feel good. And integrity it's just awful. I just have to sit here. And so we talked a little bit more about the discomfort and the conflict and da 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 da. And I didn't really like his words. I was like, I wouldn't say we're having a conflict. I would say we're both in agreement that we're not a good fit. We're totally in agreement. There's no conflict going on here. He's like, well, yeah, it's just use of words. There's a disagreement. I said, it's not even a disagreement. And I was just like, and he was, God bless him, he's young. And I was just like, I don't even know if he's 30. And it matters. I don't care. I don't care. Once in a while, youth has, there's a lot of wisdom in youth, but there's also a lot of wisdom in experience. And I finally I was just like, okay, you know what? I closed my eyes and I said, look, I'm going to figure out this moment because it's important to me. And I was like, we're not having conflict because we're both in agreement. This isn't a good fit. We're not having a disagreement. Like, we're both in agreement. This isn't a fit. Like, we both are like totally happy. We both have integrity with ourselves, and I just said, it's like we came together. His name also happened to start with an S. Let's say it was Stan. Wasn't. But I was like, oh, it's like Stan and Shelly, and they came together like this. But their together is like this. They don't go like this. They don't entwine or intertwine in any way, which we really all really like to do with other people, right? It feels really good to be safe because you're like, oh, look, we go like this, and it feels nice. That's how it feels with a friend. But no, Stan and Shelly go. They like don't. They're like, we both agree we're not a good fit. We have integrity with ourselves. We're both like being honest. We're both being, and there's like no. Our meeting is like two rocks or something, and I could tell it was super powerful for him because he used it later back at me. He's like, yeah, it's like you said, we're like this, and it's important that neither one of us goes like this and like gives in. We need to maintain our integrity and da da da. So it was just shitty. It was just like, and I was just like, but I just stayed with it. And I was just like, I don't understand, and this guy doesn't know me at all. And so I'm deeply processing stuff. And he's like kind of touting back shit that I've read in every book. And there are times where I was just like, I don't agree with that at all. It's not the way I work. You're not understanding me at all. Granted, this guy's never met me. And the way I work, like when people have a chance to witness it, it's quite remarkable and it's very fascinating, and it's not any fucking textbook. And I think everybody has this ability. But you do have to practice and hone it and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, So throughout the thing, and I keep sitting there, and at this point he realizes I'm going to sit here until 6, whether I'm talking or not, because there are times where it's just quiet, and I just literally am just closing my eyes. There's times where I'm just sitting here, and I'm just thinking, my God, I feel so much Oh, that an interesting part that we did talk about was when I feel when I don't feel this, when there's some kind of disagreement or conflict, I know those aren't the words, or there's just a meeting that doesn't sort of just meeting of rocks, so to speak. Um, it leaves me feeling, and he was saying it too. He's like, I'm feeling a lot of discomfort myself. This feels like a very raw moment. And I said, yeah, it's like there's nothing to hold on to. Like, but like there's, two hands like this. There's nothing to hold on to. You're kind of like it could slip any minute. It could, So in a way, you're trusting the other person is going to hold their integrity and not fold or collapse. Because that then they're full of shit because you're like that wasn't true for you, and we all both know it. But also is it going to suddenly like slip away and you're like, it's like, so it was like the two of us were both holding it, but it was very uncomfortable. It was raw. It was intense. And it reminded me of a murmuration because as I was sitting there, all I could feel was just like energy, just like, if you watch a murmuration, it's just like, try not to watch it literally, you know. I'm feeling very condescending, right? I'm not feeling condescending, but I feel like I sound condescending. When you watch the narration, try to watch it as energy, because that's what it is. The birds are showing you the flow of energy that we don't get to see. It's like smoke or wind, but they do it so magically. So as I was sitting there, I was like, I feel like the murmuration in that energies are just like through me and between us. We're just like, and I was like, wow, this place, it feels scary. And I said that, I said, it feels scary. I don't feel safe. I feel confused. I don't know what's going on. It's just intense. It's just like, there's so much energy. It's just like, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is like, and I thought this is why, one of the reasons why I don't like to meet in these places, because you don't know what's going to happen next. Is the person going to fold? Are you going to fold? Is somebody going to slip away and suddenly like do something harsh or, abrupt, and then kind of there's not, in this, there was actually an incredible amount of safety and security, even though it was terrifying because you don't know if the other person's going to hold their part. Like I was, you know, but in a way, we were kind of lucky because we both knew we were there till 6 o'clock. Because I had stated, I'm here till 6. And he goes, I'm sure he's going, oh fuck, I'm here till 6 too then. Like, I have to sit here with this lady until 6. So in a way, we both were kind of like, yep, we're both stuck here. And we both stated our case. And neither one of us is, we both knew the other person wasn't going to change in the next 45 minutes or whatever. So it was, in a way, it was kind of the safest it could be in this situation because neither one of us, we were like, well, you got to sit there and I got to sit here. And we're going to talk about what that's like because that's where we are. So it was interesting for me because I checked in and I was like, should I change? I was like, no, there's nothing wrong. And we both took turns saying the obvious, which was like, no one's right here and no one's wrong. Like this just, you're in a different, you're in a place where, someone comes to you and says, I want you to do this. And you're immediately like, hell no. And I'm in a place where I'm like, I need this. And someone says, I can't give it to you. And I'm like, hell no. Like, this is what I know I need. If you can't give it, I, you know. So, but through the course of that conversation, there were times again, like I said, where I was just quiet. And he started just being quiet with me. Like, well, here's this lady's just going to sit here. No, I'm just going to sit here. I don't know what he was thinking, but, um, as I started talking, I just started processing out loud, and I was just like, okay, I know, this thing, this embodied presence, and it would be wise to have assistance, and then I started saying, I thought it should be with therapists, but maybe it's not with therapists. Like maybe it's outside of the therapy space. Maybe I no longer need a therapist, and and in that moment, I just kind of was like, oh, maybe it's not in the therapy space and maybe I no longer need a therapist. And he said, I think that's true. He said, that feels true to me. And I was like, well, yeah, because it is. I didn't say that, but I was like, duh. Like anyone tuned into someone else is in me. And we were very tuned into each other because this was, a lot of intense energies. And I was like, yeah. And I was like, oh, I hadn't realized that. Like I hadn't realized um, that maybe I've been looking, I've been sort of given this thing, like, this is what you need. Like, it's time to sort of delve even deeper in here and pull forth what is time to pull forth to birth this new whatever. Um, and I just assumed it would be with a therapist. And then today was the first time where I was like, oh, I don't think it is. I think the therapy space is too rigid. Um, and there needs to be, um, with someone in a space that where it's okay for it to be dynamic. Um, that it's okay. It was funny because at one point he's just kind of got caught up in, well, I think if you want to know more about yourself, you should just do more with the outside world, and you don't need to be any more introspective. Like, da, da, da. And I'm thinking, dude, like, I'm so fucking tired of, like, here's the thing. And I listened. I was so proud of myself because I just listened. I was good at just listening, and to the point where he was like, what do you think? I mean, like he'd run out of what he had to say. And he actually said, well, what do you think? And I said, actually, no, I don't agree. I said, I don't agree because I trust myself. I know that I have excellent guides, guardians, ancestors, spirits. I don't even know intuition, but it's excellent at leading me. I have come to trust it so dearly. Like it's dear to me. um, Over the last, three plus, really the last 3 years, but even before that, but very much over the last 3 years. Um, and it's not like it leads me to like these wonderful, excursions. It's not like we're just like fairy tales over here. Like it's hard stuff it asks me to do. But when I listen and I do it to the best of my ability, it always goes well. And so this doesn't negate other people being mirrors. That is also part of my life. I have plenty of that as well. Um, but this is a very intimate piece that I feel it would be wise for me to have assistance. So I've been looking for this assistance, and today is the first day I finally kind of got, oh, this. I don't think it's a therapist, but which leaves me there's nobody. I can't think of anybody. And I'm like, well, I guess they're not here, or I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, but so this was one of the most fascinating experiences to be like this, to be this intimate with someone. I mean, we were that intimate with each other, and not have any uh, close. We were not close. We were very intimate with each other, but we did not get close. It doesn't matter that it doesn't make sense. That's how it was. We were a million miles away, but we were very intimate with each other. But we were not close. And neither one of us, felt the need to. He did say something later that was a little bit judgmental and derogatory. And I just thought, and something in me kind of reared up and and I just said, I said, you know what? I'm sorry that you're not going to have a chance to witness what it's like to help me explore what's inside of me. It's not normal. I don't think everybody can do it the way I can, and it's truly profound and beautiful. And what comes out is not like, oh, Shelley, you're now going to be a such and such. No, it's like the deepest mysteries of life come out of me, and they're revealed for me. Like I'm learning. I'm like, oh my God, look at, I had no idea. I had no idea. And whoever is assisting also gets to be part of that. And it's just so it's a profound experience. And I just said, I'm sorry you're not going to see that because he was saying I was being too rigid. This was near the end. And I just said, this process is far more dynamic than you imagine. And he said, I'm going to give you a gift, open it or not, I don't care. I said, I hope you learn to be less rigid, and that when someone comes into you and says, I know the way, can you help me? That you don't just automatically say no. And he said, I will take that. And I said, okay. And I said, and there may come a time where, I meet someone and they're like, you can't tell me what to do. Well, I think I've met them. They're my fucking kids. I've already met two of them. Never mind. I've met two. I met more than two. But yeah, no, my kids. I can't tell my kids. It was funny. I was laughing. It was actually just this morning. I was cleaning my house before I went to work. And I was like, you know what? The problem with raising free-thinking, independent people is they grow up to be free-thinking, independent adults. And it's like it's like kicking yourself in the ass. I was like, I have these free-thinking, independent adults that like they got it. They're like, I'm just like, well, shit. I should have raised these needy, like insecure, like blinded. Of course, I would never do that, but I'm just saying. So we ended up leaving. And then near the end, I can't really remember how we ended it, but suddenly it was like whatever had like. Remember I spoke last time about like the pillar. This time I would say it was like a stake. It was like staked me to the ground, and I couldn't move. I was like, I can't move. I cannot leave. I cannot leave. I just knew I couldn't leave, and then it was just a few minutes before 6 o'clock, and something kind of da-da-da, and I was like, I'm done. And I just said, I said, thank you so much. I said, I would not have I got the next step. I said, I'm clear that the next step is that I probably don't need therapy anymore. At some point he's like, isn't the goal is to not need therapy? And I said, I don't have a judgment about it. Needing therapy, not needing therapy. Like I'm better because I don't need therapy, or I'm worse because I do. I'm just like, he's like, well, if you don't need therapy, then you can do it all yourself. But this was our middle of our conversation. And I was like, what's the point of that? I said, there's so much we have to do on our own. I said, I think the gift we give each other is that when we go to each other and we need your help, I'm like, that is one of the most beautiful gifts you can give someone, is to say, I need your help. And because then someone else comes to you and says, I need your help. I need your help. I can't do this alone. I need your help. I can't do this alone. So I was like, dude, like, it's not about doing it alone. You have to do so much alone. The bits that we can share are fucking gifts. Like, it's a gift. But anyway, so at that point, I was just like, okay, at that point, we were like that at that moment. I was like, okay, this isn't even one of these. It's like, and I just said no. Like, I don't think the goal for me is not to do therapy or not do therapy. Like, I don't think I'm better or worse either way. I'm okay. So listen to this. The fact that I'm probably going to stop therapy for a while, I am not fucking better. I'm just not going to go to therapy for a while. Like, you're not fixed because you're not going to therapy, and you're not broken because you do. It's just so stupid. It's so frustrating to me. It's just like so myopic. Like, boing, open your eyes. Okay. So, because that's ridiculous. Whatever. Okay. So, but I did say, thank you. I needed you to like hit that. He needed to be the wall that I hit so hard that I had to go, okay, I'm not getting, and I said it to him like 3 minutes in. I said, I'm not getting the message. I knew it when I was sitting there. I was like, I just walked in and you said this to me. I'm like, I'm missing it. Like, I just literally I hit my head against the wall, and I'm like, I'm not seeing it. And I was like, I don't know what I'm not seeing. I told him, I said, I feel blind. Like, I'm not seeing something and I don't know what. It took about 48 minutes before I was like, oh, I don't think it's going to happen with a therapist. Maybe it wasn't that far. I don't know where, but I was like, oh yeah, I don't think this is the space. This is what's going to happen. I know the kind of the what and the how, but I have been wrong about the who and the where. Like, I don't know who can assist me, and I don't know where it's going to be happen, but he's not going to be in therapy. So I did thank him. I said, I honestly do appreciate it. It was excellent for me to have to sit through all that discomfort, to sit with someone where we clearly, we were raw and intimate with each other, but there was no closeness. And that was how it was the whole time. To sit and also to notice little nagging doubts like, well, is there something wrong with you? Like, should you do it his way? No, it's not. No, I'm not. And there, no, we're not. No, that's not it. That's not it. And the thing is I've already done 3 years with these other therapists, and there were plenty of times where I knew they were right, where I was like, oh God, I never saw it that way. You're right. Right. So it's not, if I was always saying that, then I'd be concerned about it. But that's not it. I spent 3 years going, staring at them going, I never saw that. I didn't know that. Like, wow, that's a whole new paradigm for me. It's a whole new vision. It's a whole new perspective. So I'm open to it, but this one's not moving. It's like, we are telling you what is next for you, and you need to figure out and I guess I've had these therapy blinders on, like it's going to happen in therapy. And now it's like, oh, it's not going to happen in therapy. I don't know where, I don't know how, I don't know who, I don't know what's going, but I've at least got these blinders off. And thanks to this therapist today who got them off. So I did. I said, thank you. And I meant it. I stood up, I shook his hand, and I think he was like totally probably bewildered. And he just said, I have to say, like, this has been the most amazing experience. Like, I never have people walk in and are this open and authentic and vulnerable and just like you just laid it all out there. And I just said, I don't know how to be anybody else anymore but who I am. Like, the rape trial is like, look at that. It makes the whole thing shake. That's kind of cool. That was like my wake up call. You're dying. You're dying. You could die tomorrow. It was like my wake up call. If you're going to live, you better fucking live today, because you do not know you're going to be alive tomorrow. So my time is just like, it's like, oh, it's just like, I literally can feel it just like slipping through my hands. It's just like, oh, it's just so precious, and you can't hold it, and you can't have it, and you can't keep it. You can't take it. Nothing. It's nothing. And yet it's everything. So, and then as I walked out his door, there was like a big thing outside in the hallway. And it said, we're on the same team. And it was like all these different characters around it. And I was like, and I realized in that moment, I don't think he understands what I said. Because as I was walking away, I was like, oh, we're on the same team. This guy and I are on the same team. Listen up. And I keep walking, and I go, and I go, so I kind of reach back, and, he's over here, and I go, we're on the same team. I said, this is us. We're on the same team. And I can see him go, like, this massive confusion on his face. And then I walk out. And he and I are on the same team. We are two people with an incredible amount of integrity. We're on the same team. We didn't play together. We didn't get close. But we're on the same team. I was like, I met somebody on the same team as me, somebody with a lot of integrity. That's not nothing. I got to experience somebody like me. They're not easy. He wasn't an easy guy. Certainly not easy. Wasn't malleable, wasn't amenable, wasn't, like, he was him. He was him. And he got to meet someone like himself. We're on the same team, and I could tell in a way we were both. And what's interesting, at some point in the conversation, he did talk about, because I said, I brought up, I was like, there's, at some point I was like, there's some part of me that like almost wants to collapse, like I'm wrong, like collapse, like I'm wrong. But another part of me was like, no, you are not, you are staying strong right here. Don't move. And some part of me was like, nope, don't move. And he said, he said, I have that same tendency. He said, I can collapse. He said, I tend to do it with strong older men. He said, I almost become like infantile with them, which I thought was interesting. I was like, oh, that's funny. Strong older men wouldn't do that with me, but whatever. Um, so, he and I are on the same team. But isn't that interesting? When you meet somebody that's on your team, you might not play the game with them. You might not be able to play. I mean, we played, but it was like a home run. It was like we played and we hit a home run. We're done. Just like that. That's how good we played. That's how good the two of us were together. We hit a home run in 60 minutes, a 60-minute home run, 57 minutes. Home run, we're done. So it was fascinating. It was fascinating. And just like a deeper lesson of integrity, and also what it's like when you meet somebody. When you meet someone that's going to hold their integrity, it ain't roses. You know, it's also not thorns. It was, and we talked a little bit about that. It wasn't like I said, the word that came to me was discomfort. It was intense. It was discomfort. There was some fear. It wasn't painful. My body wasn't in pain. So it's not like it's thorns or roses. It was just like, damn, what is, I have met a presence, and my presence has met a presence, and we are presencing together. Um, so it was really fascinating. So I won't go see him again. We're done. We had a home run. Uh, there's nothing there. I'm not going to make an appointment with I'm not going to try to find another therapist. I think I've figured out that that's not the way for me right now. Um, and it is kind of, in a way, it is kind of, I'm a little bit sad, because I have appreciated, having someone to go talk to every week where I could say anything about anybody, and they would listen. And that is, that's not really a relationship. I know. And I've said it before, it's staged. Like, I've known that it's staged. But so I'll kind of miss that part of it. But also I've gotten so much. I mean, I can't thank the women, that the other two therapists I've had. I mean, just such immense, their wisdom, their support, um, you know, them just believing in me as I went through that. And, yeah, just been really, yeah. So I still have the first gentleman. We still have a few sessions. I don't know how many. We haven't said a thing, but as we slowly move through, I don't. It might be a quick. Like, maybe we'll hit a home run, but just move through goodbye, whatever that means for me. And like I said, I'm doing it because there is so much discomfort for me in goodbyes. There's more than just discomfort. I mean, there's pain, there's loss, there's grief. I feel like it's all like it's the end of the world. Like, it's the end, of something very big. It's the end of my life or something. And I know that sounds dramatic, but that is how it feels. Like, endings are hard for me. And so I don't want to rush it. I want to, and I do think I know he'll give me the time, whatever time I feel like I need to process. And what it is it's not me ending therapy isn't really the issue. It's endings. So I'm using, and I've talked about this before. It's like when someone dies, that maybe wasn't a major part of your life, but you're suddenly grieving as though it's the end of the world. And I've always, said it's like pulling the plug in a big bathtub. You only put in a cup full for this one funeral, but suddenly you have all this grief channeling through. So I'm allowing this goodbye to be a channel of goodbye, to spend time, with goodbyes and the goodbyes in my life, and what does it mean and how does it feel, and can I can I process goodbyes more efficiently, effectively, healthfully, and accurately. You know, this whatever kind of story I have, belief system, whatever that I have built around it is not correct. Even the emotional responses are, I would say, are out of balance. So, um, okay, so there we go. I don't even know what to call this podcast. I mean, it's like integrity. It's not even. I was. This one was. It was. I mean, it was about integrity, but it was also about just like meeting your mirror. I mean, strangely, I probably saw myself more clearly in this person. Um, or I saw parts of myself that I often don't see mirrored back at me. And I got to experience what those parts are like. And that's invaluable. And also to feel the power of it. Like there was so much power in his, and neither one of us really, we weren't upset with the other person, and we didn't raise our voices. We didn't get, nobody got really nasty, angry, anything like that. But it was the power of him just being like, this is just how I am. And the power of me just being like, yes, this is where I am. This is what I need. Um, I don't, I've never, I don't know if I fully experienced the power in that kind of integrity. And the integrity of just knowing, just this personal knowing. Not knowing a fact. Like, this isn't like, I know more than you, I've read more than you, I can out debate you. It's that knowing that nobody else can know for you, ever. And the power of that is, and when you know that and you align with that, immovable, immovable. Ozone, the immovable, which I think I said the abyss. It's called Made in Abyss. Is the anime? I think I said it wrong last time, and I think I forgot to post it. I'm so bad. I'm lucky to get these damn things up. Honestly, like it's such a pain. Um, so, and then I recently, I'm back on an anime streak. I haven't thought about animes in years and years and years, but I remember my kids were probably 6 or 7. So we're talking 20 years ago, I mean, probably when it first came out. And I was in a yoga class, and at the end, the instructor played this beautiful piece of music. And it was in Japanese. I could tell it was Japanese, but didn't know it, anything. And I went up to them afterwards and I said, that was such a beautiful piece of music. What is it from? And they said, oh, it's from a movie, and it's an anime. I'd never heard the word. And I was like, what? That's it? And they said, oh, well, it's called Howl's Moving Castle. And it's really hard to find. But if you could find it, I think you might like it. I said, okay. So I started searching around. I mean, this is literally 20 plus years ago. I mean, I don't know when it came out, but it was probably right close to the beginning. And I remember I had to order a bootleg copy from China or something. Like I just couldn't even find the thing, and you couldn't watch it. It was like nobody showing it in America or anything. I was just like, and I'm thinking, and I look at the picture on the front. I'm like, what the hell? Like I am a hard math person. Like I am not into this stuff. And I was just like, oh my gosh, but I have to get it because the song was so beautiful. And if you've ever watched Howl's Moving Castle by Hayao Miyazaki, a Japanese anime, um, at the very end, she's the woman singing in Japanese, and that was the song I'd heard during yoga. So Howl's Moving Castle was my first anime, and I'd never seen an anime, but these cute little pictures on the front, and so I sit down with my two kids one day, and we watch it. And it was scary. There were times where they were quite scared, and we had to stop it. And I was thinking, there were times where I was like, maybe we shouldn't watch this. And I'm like, this doesn't look like the cover. Like, what is going on? This is really scary. Um, but they were like, no, 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 like we want to watch it. And fortunately, it ends well. So, and I remember just crying and crying and crying and thinking it was the most beautiful movie. And I wasn't sure what I'd just seen. I had no idea. And I would say that was the beginning of me learning to listen and to hear beyond my logical mind. And it's definitely, I would say, it's definitely a journey of love. Obviously, for me, it was a journey of the masculine and feminine, allowing those two to be wedded in harmony within me, which I've recently talked about. That they've done. I never even I sort of I always knew it was a thing that should be done, but it was so daunting and I was so terrible. I would just swing from one to the other, so just drastically and dramatically, and there was no balance. And I just thought I'm not even gonna try to figure out this masculine and feminine thing. It's just way too hard and da da da. And by God, it just sort of happened. And now I can just feel it and I go, oh, I guess that's what it means to, and I see it in my life. The way I live now is very, very similar, uh, but balanced, but balanced. Um, and I'm hopeful. Um, I'm hopeful that some other things will come into balance now that is. Um, it's funny because it was funny because at one point with this Stan, not Stan, his name's not Stan, but we're gonna call him Stan, with this therapist today. Um, he said he was sort of, he had a few things where he was a little bit, I don't know if he was being condescending or derogatory, but it felt a little bit like it, where he's like, this embodied presence thing. I've never even heard this term before. Like, I really don't even know what you're talking about. And I was like, you've never heard it because I made it up. I said, those are the words that came to me. Those are the words that came to me. That is what I'm working on. Embodied presence. And he just kind of sat there. And I wanted to say, yeah, motherfucker, it's not in a book. Doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It doesn't mean it isn't valid. It doesn't mean it isn't the most precious and priceless thing we have. The funny thing is I'm asking someone to help me with what I consider, and I think many people would consider, the most priceless gift we have is our embodied presence. You can be present and not really be embodied. Embodied presence, feeling your body, being present with your body, is, you're the universe. You literally unlock the whole fucking universe. Okay, so then I came home. This is what I want to get to, this whole masculine, feminine, gender, blah, 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 blah. I get home and I start making dinner. And I just kind of am clicking through some, I was very agitated. This was like, it was interesting because I wasn't upset, but my nervous system was like, it was like very, I'm curious to see if I sleep tonight. Like I said, I don't understand it because I wasn't upset, but my nervous system was like, I could feel that shaking inside of me. And I could feel it all through the whole session. And I was just like, oh, well, here we go. Welcome to Shelley land, where the nervous system goes. And so I was like, I need to try to calm down. So I was just like, quickly was flipping through something on YouTube or something. And I was like, oh, let's just find what is there. And I saw uh, some little blurb and it said Gina Davis, and what's her name? That great actress that I love. Oh, I've forgotten her name. Thelma and Louise. It'll come to me in a minute. I have never seen Thelma and Louise. Never. But this was a behind the scenes. It was just like this little, YouTube thing behind the scenes. So it was the actresses and the actors were talking about what it was like to make the movie, and then also kind of like the aftermath that happened after it, which I remember a bit about, but not much. I've never kind of been in the movie scene, so I miss a lot when it comes to movies. But as I was listening, the gender thing came up for me. I felt like I ran into like the masculine with both these men, where they were like, yeah, but they both said to me, you I'm here to challenge you. And I'm thinking, there's more than one fucking way. Like, I don't, and they couldn't, I wanted to, and I didn't even say it, but I just thought, you don't have to. The female therapist never challenged me. Well, the challenge didn't come as a challenge. I didn't ever I didn't have to hit the brick wall. It was, have you thought about it this way? What do you think? And I'm not saying there's not anything wrong with the brick wall, but I'm saying there's more than one way. And I feel like I gave both of them an opportunity. Like, would you like to learn about embodied presence? Like, would you like to just ask me, what am I feeling in my body? And the first one didn't say no, but he just wasn't able to. And the second one was flat out no, no. And his wasn't even about that. His was just like, he's going to say no to anything anybody tells him he needs to do. And that's what he said. I wish I could remember what it was called. He had a term for it, so there must be a term. But basically, if anyone says I need to do something, I refuse to do it. It's just like, that's just like, you're a therapist? Okay. Anyway, it was lovely. He played his role beautifully. And I finally got the message that I haven't been getting, which is that what I need to do is, I know what I need to do, but it's not going to happen the way I think. Which, what's new? I mean, seriously, that's never how it goes. So, anyway, okay, that took way longer than I thought. Okay, way longer than I thought. Blah, 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 blah. I want you to know, I recorded like an hour and a half podcast the other night, and it was brilliant. And when I got done, I realized I hadn't unmuted the microphone. And so the whole thing is 90 minutes of silent, like a silent movie. So you never get to hear it. And I thought, well, and honestly, when I got done, I was like, oh man, I said some things I don't know that I should share. Not just like personally, but just galactically, universally, cosmically. Um, not in this time and space anyway. So, so I just thought that was funny. I was like, I can't believe I just did a 90-minute podcast on mute. I didn't do that this time. Hey, here's my gift to you. Open it or not. Um, I'd like you to. I would really like this. I am literally asking because I would like people to begin doing this. I'd like you to learn to find your alignment of integrity. And again, don't worry so much about the action. Like it's not beautiful and wonderful. Don't go looking for roses. It doesn't also have to be thorns. Okay. But there's like an alignment in there though. If you're listening and you care, the universe will give you this moment. I swear to God. There will be a moment where a decision is to be made and you're not going to have a lot of time to think about it. And in that moment, you'll feel an alignment and you'll know the answer of your integrity. Where you are integrous with the energy of your being. Answer that. Just answer that. See what you learn. And there will come another moment, very similar, in that you will feel the alignment, you'll feel the integrous, this integrous beam running through you, and you will not listen. You will not stay integrous. See how it goes. See how that goes. And just begin to notice, like, what happens when I stay in integrity? what happens when I don't? And sometimes the choices are inside of you, right? Like they're choices you make with yourself. The choices you make with yourself. They are choices you make with and for yourself. And those matter enormously. I don't know, possibly more than the ones that you make with others. I don't think there has to be a scale. I don't think one is better or greater than the other. They're all important, but attuning yourself to your own integrous beam of light. If we all did that. If we all did that, I don't think it's a world of, I do think it's a world of peace, but not in the way you think. It's this. It's, you know, a home run in 57 seconds because two rocks met each other and went, yep. I mean, it was peaceful. It was peaceful. It's like, who is it that says peace is not the absence of conflict? It's, I don't remember. Nelson Mandela, Gandhi. I don't know. I can't think right now. But anyway, there was peace. Uh, there wasn't closeness, but there was peace. Integrity would, wow, change the world, literally. Okay, blah, blah, blah. I've been saying goodbye for like almost 10 minutes. You guys take care. Bye bye.